right, friend, today we're going to be jamming on building a kingdom business. If you are a Christian who knows that the Lord is leading you to grow something that isn't worldly, isn't full of striving and hustling and frustration, and you want the calling and the purpose on your life to be the business that you ultimately build, this episode is for you. Hi, friend. I am Stephanie Gass, and I have built a highly profitable, highly successful business God's way. And today I am going to be walking you through the exact steps that I walked through to go from struggling and literally losing everything at even one point to now having a top 20 podcast, a very successful business, a fruitful team, literally thousands of students at this point who have walked through my system. And I'm going to teach you exactly how you can model in my footsteps and really make a business that isn't based on money, accolades, or clicks or virality, but is kingdom, is God's vision for your business, is God's vision for your life. Okay, friend, we're going to be going through 6 steps for kingdom business building. Let's begin. Step 1, surrender the foundation. And if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, you know that I talk about surrender a lot. And it may or may not be because I love to control things. Hi. And I also love to worry about stuff. Coping mechanism. Okay. So I am not perfect at all, which is why I can come to you from this position of, hi, I've been in the trenches. I've been in the messy middle. I've tried to control. I've tried to just kind of capitalize on all of this stuff and try to like own it all. And it wasn't the way. It left me broken and broke. And it was super frustrating for me. It made building a business so extraordinarily hard, way harder than it needed to be. So Psalm 127:1 reminds us, unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Oop! So let's not build something that isn't of the Lord because we don't want to waste our time. We don't want to focus on something that is not of God, from God, for God, because therefore we're not going to be in it with God. And we know when we're not in something with God, it's not kingdom. So your business must start with surrender. I actually have a fantastic video that you can bookmark to watch next right here, which is a business meeting with God. It's my most watched, viewed video here on YouTube. And I think it will really help you with this whole surrender process. And the action and question I want you to jot down for this first step is, have I invited God into my business plan, or am I asking God to bless something that I already built? That's the big question that you need to be asking. And last thing I'll say on surrender, this is not something you're going to do one time and be done. I wish, right? As with anything in our life that is hard yet holy, it takes repetition, okay? Like the first time that I decided I want to stop drinking alcohol, and for some people this may be the case, but I didn't just, okay, well, I've decided to stop and the desire has completely left me, and then I just never drank again. It was like I wrestled with the desire of even wanting to stop drinking for like over a year. And then I did a small little, sober curious stint and like didn't drink for a minute. And then I drank again. And then I would like made a bunch of excuses and validations about why I could drink at certain times. And then I had anxiety attacks and I was making up every reason why it wasn't the alcohol. And like, and, right? So it's like, this was a hard, holy thing I was being called to do, was become sober. But it took a while. It was an active surrendering, like on a daily basis. And so you got to surrender that foundation. It's got to be God's dream for your business and God's partnership with you in building it. Okay. We're moving to step 2. We're moving right along. The problem is I can't hold my coffee and my microphone and my notes. Okay, step 2, clarify the mission. We have to define who you serve, what the problem is that we solve, and how it impacts God's kingdom. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. And I will tell you, one of the things I do every single year when I'm doing my vision casting for the next year and my godly goal setting, which by the way, I have a godly goal setting video right here. You can also bookmark that one for next. I think you're going to love it. I write out like, what is the vision for my life 1 year from now? If I'm the most partnered with God I can be, I'm walking out the goals and dreams that He has for me. And I'm really working for the Lord and not for man. Like, what does my life look like, right? And I will tell you that for the past 6 years, literally, the vision of who I am becoming has become a reality for me every single year. And I think that write the vision, make it plain is so powerful because God wants us to see and be able to visualize the capacity that we actually have and hold. And I think so many times we tell ourselves that we're just small. We're not enough. We're not a player in this game. We don't even have the opportunity to make a financial difference or to be somebody in that space. But none of that is from God, right? So your action/question here in step 2 to clarify the mission is, I want you to write a paragraph around what is the godly vision for your business. Specifically, who are you going to serve? What problem are you going to solve? And how will it impact God's kingdom? I want you to write that down, and extra credit if you post it below in the comments. Okay, step 3 is to build one solid content channel. So now we're getting tactical. A lot of building a kingdom business is spiritual, right? It is that surrender. It is the partnership with the Lord. It's the constant renewing of our mind. It's all of that. Yes, that's 95% of it. Maybe 90%. But the other 10% is like, you got to move. You have to take action. You have to actually do things. You have to do the things. Matthew 5:37, best verse ever. Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Goodbye. Okay? Like, if we're going to move and do this thing and build a kingdom business, you have to have a way to speak to the people of the world. You have to have a way to generate trust. You have to have a way to reach people. You have to have a way to get people to work with you or to listen to you or to lead other people. You have to be in front of people so that they can be led by you, right? And so we have to build one solid content channel. And you guys know, I truly believe in podcasting. I think it is the fastest way to reach the most amount of people across the world with the least amount of your time. It's low overhead. There's no editing cost. Okay. There's no like tons of overhead. It's not a crazy hard strategy. Social media is that quick fix. Like you spend 4 hours making content and it just dies. Like it goes to the algorithm graveyard. No, but podcasting is my favorite, will always be, and was my very first love. And podcasting led to a 7-figure company alone by itself before I ever added any of the other stuff I have today. Podcasting was the sole revenue source in my company. It brought in all the leads. It grew my coaching business exponentially quickly. Is that a thing? Is that a word? Is that a phrase? Exponential. It grew my business really fast. Okay. And podcasting is the thing that I believe can do it for you. That's actually what I teach my students, is to use podcasting as their one method of outreach of long form content, because you're building this library of searchable content that's going to last for years and years and years. My top downloaded episodes are literally from 4 or 5 years ago. And so that content is still working for me for the glory of God, because people who find my show change the way that they think they have to grow a business. They stop selling their soul to social media. They believe they can do less. They can do more with less. They know that they cannot have a kingdom business without God in it. And so I'm teaching them how to pray and how to journal and how to meet with the Lord, because a lot of times people don't teach us these things. We're just supposed to know how to pray. We're just supposed to know what the heck to do when we sit down to have a business meeting with the Lord. Like, no, all of this stuff is learned and it's gained, and it's knowledge that can be gathered from one person to another. And so that podcast is literally the transfer of information and the transfer of belief of the thing that God's asked you to show up and do. So your action/question here in step 3 is to write down, which platform are you willing to go all in on for 1 year? And I would highly recommend it be a long form platform. Podcasting is the easiest, least expensive, and fastest. Believe me or don't, but there it is. And if you want to learn exactly how I was able to grow a highly profitable, successful 7-figure company from podcasting, come to my bootcamp, stefaniegass.com/bootcamp, because I am a business coach. Even though I talk a lot about faith and I do teach and preach quite a bit here on YouTube, I am a business coach at heart. That is literally what I'm called to be. I'm just called to do it in a God-honoring way. And so I think this experience, this 5-day training, will help you see that there can be a better way to grow a business that seriously can be very successful for you and the kingdom. I think that's part of having a kingdom business, is knowing it's okay to be successful. It's God honoring to make money, because then we can give more, tithe more, serve more. We can do more for our community on this side of heaven when good people make money, which is simply a means of exchange. And then we have to stop hiding from success as long as it is God honoring and in partnership with him. So stephaniegaz.com/bootcamp. Let's keep rolling. Step 4, we've got to steward our resources wisely. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God. Seek first. So this is all about, you've got to steward your time, your money, your energy. You have to have boundaries. You have to set rhythms between work and rest. And actually, my last video talked a lot about this here on the channel. Stewardship, it's important. Too much is given, much is expected. And, much is given to me, and so much is expected. And so I have to think wisely about, how do I show up for God? How do I carve out time for him, which is one of the hardest things for me to do, which is hilarious because look what I literally talk about all day. I pray to the Lord 24/7. I'm constantly in prayer with him, but sitting down and cracking open the Bible and doing the devotionals, that's been hard the last few weeks. It's been hard. It's not perfect, but it's about going, you know what? I have the desire of my heart to put God first, and I'm going to try to commit to these spiritual disciplines as best that I possibly can in the time that I have, because that's stewarding. If God's given me all of this stuff, the first and best thing I want to do is give back to God with my first fruits, which is my time. And for me, it's in the morning because your girl is awake and ready, and I have a fresh cup of joe. So I want to wake up and be with the Lord. And so I want to steward that. And I'm not perfect, but what I'm saying is be intentional with your stewardship, right? With finances, we tithe, we give to lots of things in our community when we feel led. We serve often with our finances. So stewarding that well, being wise with saving money and creating wealth and legacy that you can put back into future generations or nonprofits or whatever it is that God is going to call you to do, because he's going to call you to do something with that wealth because it's God's, right? Stewarding the time that you have with your family and how you show up for your family. It's important to know, if you're a woman watching this right now, you're called to leadership. You're called to own business ownership, CEO, maybe high-level ministry. You're definitely not here on accident, but you're also called to be a helper of your husband, to be a keeper of your home. And guess what? God's got a way for all of that to actually happen when we're partnered with him in it. When we're partnered with him, it doesn't mean we don't have seasons of stretch. You will, 100%. But the way that God operates is on heaven's timeline and on heaven's clock. And so when we steward wisely, we don't overcommit. We don't say yes to literally everything. We don't hoard. We don't not invest, right? We don't literally give of every second that we have. We guard, we have boundaries, we invest wisely, we tithe, we serve, we shepherd. And all of these pieces come from wise stewardship. So your action/question here at step 4 is to write down, where are you overspending or overcommitting instead of stewarding? And just be honest. There's no shame in auditing at all. I audit all the time. I'm where am I failing? Where am I falling short? Where have I fallen back into the world's traps? Because if I'm not willing to look at the shortcomings, God can't come in and heal them and work with me on it. And I just want to be the best godly version of me that I can be. And that means that when I fail, I have to be willing to be yo, girl, you're a little bit off the path. Just like I said, getting up and cracking open the Bible and getting into a nice hearty devotional. I'm craving that. My spirit's craving it. And I haven't been making the time for it. And it's okay, today's the day that you make a change, right? Today's the day that we recommit. Today's the day that we dig into the spiritual disciplines. Today's the day that I steward the things that God has given me better. And today's the day, because tomorrow is not promised. Okay. Step 5 of building a kingdom business is to monetize with integrity and simplicity. Proverbs 16:8, better to have little with godliness than be rich and dishonest. Ooh, ouch. So don't fall for the get rich quick schemes. Don't fall for yet another platform where you need to be a first mover. Look, don't fall for overcomplication. Don't run and chase after the shiny object. It's all a distraction. And ask me how I know. 15-year full-time entrepreneur here you're looking at, okay? I did everything. I've done it all. I've chased it all. And God's led me right back home, right here, and has reminded me over and over again that simplicity is how you have success. Simplicity equals scaling. And I want you to remember the power of one. one person that you serve, one problem that you solve, and one solution that your offer provides. So if you today are throwing a bunch of spaghetti at the wall like I used to, I literally had a blog that I was trying to monetize about how to style your mantle. You do not want me styling your mantle, okay? I am not the style a mantle girl. I'm not the friend who decorates for the fall and the things and the Easters and in the springs and the summers. I'm like, I will decorate one time and put up a Christmas tree because I ain't got time for this. Okay. So no, I was making Amazon merch t-shirts that were selling for like a $4 profit. I have been in network marketing. We all know how that goes. Like I have been in every single thing trying to chase what was going to make money the fastest. And none of it ever ended up making any money that was sustained. Yes, a lot of them did make money, but they were a facade because then they were gone. And then they were a facade and then they were gone. This business I'm standing in that I've built today, that is the one business that I 100% committed to the Lord and have built with him day in and day out. The money and finances that this business has produced, it is kingdom because it's not going anywhere. It's been wisely invested. It's compounding. It is supporting a dozen families who work for me. Like this is kingdom income. So we cannot fall victim to the lies that more is better, that 100 things or chasing the next shiny or looking at what she's doing is going to produce what God wants for your business. It won't. It's simply a ploy from the enemy to keep you from digging into the rooted thing that God's already told you to do. You know what I'm talking about because I didn't want to hear it and I didn't want to do it. And I wanted to be like, well, you don't understand because you're farther along. Yes, today I'm farther along, which means I have 20/20 vision on all the things I did wrong and the ways in which I failed and fell flat and how much faster I could have been sitting here in partnership with God, creating the business that he had for me all along. Let's just not waste time. Let's decide to follow God regardless of what the world is screaming at us. Okay, your action/question at this step 5. If you had to choose one, who would it be? And what would it be? So who's your person? What is the problem you solve? And what is the solution? Just have fun. This is just for fun. Put it below in the comments. Okay, last step, step 6, we're wrapping it up. We've got to trust the results to God. You are only responsible for what you can control. And in my opinion, the only thing you can actually control is your obedience. It's your action. Of course, it's your faithfulness, okay? It's your commitment to your spiritual disciplines, to prayer, to petition, to the word of the Lord. It's auditing of yourself, right? Getting us back on track because we all fall short, we all fail, we all mess up, we're all sinners, like 100%, like we're all human beings. But we cannot be responsible for the outcome because the outcome is in the future. So if we can't be responsible for the future outcome, we got to let it go. We have got to let it go. And if you're super worried about finances and you're obsessing about, money, I have a video that I did last week and I'll link it here for you on overcoming your financial anxiety and trusting God. I think that'd be a great one for you to check out. But 1 Corinthians 3:7 reminds us, so neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow. So while we may be planting, while we may be watering, while we may be tilling and pulling the weeds, only God can make it grow. So let's stop forcing the plant to grow because we actually literally can't. And so if we try to force it and obsess over it and worry and throw spaghetti at the wall and chase it, we're simply stealing from the outcome that God has already determined and delaying the provision and the blessing and the outcome that he already has for us. So growth may look slow, but kingdom businesses are built for eternal impact, generational shifting, okay? Like Joseph in prison, years of obedience before overnight promotion. Okay, I may look like I've had overnight success over here, but the reality is it took 15 years of failure, of realignment, and the last 10 years of really chasing after God and 8 years of partnership with him in the business that he always had for me. Okay. So the question and action here is, what area of your business do you need to release back to God's control? Drop it below. Okay, friends, those are your steps. That is how you actually grow a kingdom business. And I'm sharing this from my own personal experience. And I just pray that one of these steps just hit for you. It encouraged you. It blessed you. And yeah, maybe it stretched or triggered you a little bit, but look at that. There's something in there for you, something God wants to speak and say to you. So seek after him and see what he has. Let's wrap it up. We went surrender, clarity, content, steward, monetize, and trust. And if you're not ready to say goodbye, please be sure to come hang out in my 5-day boot camp where I teach you how to grow a profitable kingdom business in the method in which I teach, podcasting and one core offer, and keeping everything super aligned with God's will for your work. That's at stefaniegass.com/bootcamp right here, stefaniegass.com/bootcamp. Or you can click right here to watch the next video that I have hand chosen for you, and be sure to subscribe. I will see you next week. God bless.